Hello everyone, DM Gashbad here. Like a lot of you, I am an old-time Warhammer Fantasy player, and I would like to try out Warhammer the Old World. The major issue, though, is that a lot of my old models are on the smaller bases, especially these 20 by 20 millimeter bases. And the new game uses these larger ones, the 25 by 25s. And I don't want to go and rebase all my models. That's a lot of time and effort and money for a game that I'm not yet invested in, and I would like to have the option to go back to the older games. So I've been trying to think about a way that I can quickly and cheaply set myself up to play some games, and I think I've gotten a good solution. I was messing around with these things and I'm saying, hey, you know these new 25 by 25 millimeter bases? Well, on the other side of them, it's just an empty area with a lip around it. Aren't those kind of like little movement trays all on their own? So yeah, I went and tried it out, and sure enough, if you set a 20 by 20 millimeter base inside of there, now you've got a little individual movement tray for your guy. This is good for independent characters. You can move them around, you can pick them up, and it works great. If you wanted to put a little blue tack or something to make them sticky, double-sided tape or whatever, and really adhere them in there, that's fine, but you don't really need to do anything more than that. And so I thought, why don't I just do this for movement trays? I'll make spacer movement trays, adapter movement trays out of these old bases. I got a bunch of these 25 millimeter bases because of all the unbuilt Orc Warriors and Chaos Warriors and stuff that I got around. So that's what I'm going to do right here. We're going to make this really cheap, and if you've got these bases, they're really fast. You can, of course, order these from Games Workshop. Hopefully they're the kind without anything on the bottom. I guess there's an off chance that they might have one of these slots on the other side. You could Dremel them off, I guess, but if I were a betting man, I would say they'd be like this. Anyway, we're just going to take some cheap cardboard. This comes from one of my kids' Lego sets, so it's a little thicker than cereal box cardboard, but you could use whatever you like. You can use, cereal box cardboard, plastic card, chipboard. I don't think it really matters that much. I'm just going to take my right angle ruler here, and I'm going to make a right angle. If you don't have one of these, you can just as easily use a piece of paper or anything with a right angle. And I'm going to make a small movement tray for this video. So a 10-man movement tray. They used to be 20 millimeter bases. We're going to move them up to 25 millimeter bases. 2 ranks of 5. So 5 models in the front rank at 25 millimeters each. That's going to be 125 millimeters. We're going to make it a little bit smaller than that. We're going to go with about 120 millimeters instead. Same thing on the other side. 2 ranks, that's going to be 50 millimeters. We're going to go down to 45. So that'll be like that. Have our right angle jet out like this. This doesn't have to be precise. You'll see why in a little bit. But our angles, our measurements, even how good our cuts are, we're not really going to see this part, so it's not very important, which is why I'm just using regular scissors instead of my X-Acto blade. Cut that out like that. I think you guys probably already know where all this is going. There we go. That's going to be the start of our adapter movement tray. And now I'm just going to take a regular glue stick. I tried this at first with spray adhesive because I wanted kind of a weak hold. I didn't want this to be really strong. I didn't want to permanently glue this on here because you never know. I might want to use these bases for something later on. The spray adhesive actually was a little bit stronger than I anticipated, and when I went to test out to see if I could pry these things off again, it was a little harder than I thought. So I'm going to go with an even weaker glue, just regular glue stick, and then I'm going to take all these correct size bases, the 25 by 25 millimeter bases, I'm going to flip them upside down, and I'm just going to stack them up on this little piece of cardboard. If the glue starts to dry out, I'll just put a little bit more down. It doesn't have to be a really strong hold. All it has to do is sit in about the right position. Straighten them up a little bit, compact them in, and there you go. In this amount of time, I've just made myself an adapter movement tray. And just so you know, I'm not lying, here's a little unit of Empire handgunners. They fit right in to those upside down bases. Completely accurate, no edge around the thing to throw off measurements or anything like that. They stay in pretty well. Here, let me give you an example. Here's a 20-man unit that I made earlier. Move these guys around. Glue's all dry. If we want to have our hero, he can come in here if he wants to join the unit. I just swap somebody out. Put another tray on the back. Put him in the back there. And there you go. Fast as you please. And of course, this will probably work just fine for adapting 25mm to 30mm bases. You'll have to go to GW and buy some of the new 30mm bases. Or you could just wait until you buy models that come with 30mm bases. You can set those up on your old 25s so that you can play Warhammer Fantasy 8th Edition or Mordheim or whatever you like with those. They probably fit better on Warhammer Quest and Blood Bowl tiles as well. For the larger bases, it might be a little bit more problematic. The cavalry bases, I'm just guessing they're probably going to come out with these slots. And if it's just an aspect of buying the bases specifically so you can make these movement trays, it's probably cheaper to go and buy MDF ones from somewhere online. But if you got a bunch of these bases sitting around, or if you end up with some of them from some of the models that you've bought, I think this is a pretty good solution. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, observations, or concerns. I'm going to try this out. I'll hopefully be playing Warhammer the Old World relatively soon. Hey, I'll see you on the next one.